Dude, Lydia would walk in the room. Tim is sitting next to Allison and sit at Tim's feet and massage Tim's feet with Allison sitting next to Tim. That's weird, man. And like Allison would like look at Tim and Tim would be like, life is good. You know?
And I was just like, bro, why? What did I do to you? Any of you? Nothing. What was the last thing I ever said about Adam? We want to open a coffee house and sell his coffee, use his coffee brand. I wish him the best. And then he wants to come out and start spreading lies about my family and my relationships.
Adam Crigler went on a rant exposing Tim Pool and Timcast IRL for over 6 hours. Then Tim Pool went on to explain his perspective for over 2 hours, which is crazy because Tim's origin story and subsequent drama took longer than the Iron Man movie. But this quick video will explain the tragedy of replacing Adam Crigler with Ian Crosslin on Timcast IRL. Now it is interesting to see the similar role they filled, and reminds me of the meme of Kermit the Frog replacing Miss Piggy with basically the same girl. Now a consistent issue coming up is money and how much Adam was being paid.
Tim had a conversation with me about a week before I was let go. And this conversation was about money. Hey, Adam, we're doing so well that the cut that you're making, my accountant is telling me it's too much.
And Tim confirms this on multiple occasions.
And my accountant informed me that, like, hey, you're paying this guy too much. He made substantially more than I did. It got to a point where Adam was paid so much that we were legally blocked from actually offering him more money. At this point, we started making six figures per month.
But to give this context, after Adam was fired, look at what Adam says about Tim paying for his departure to Sweden.
When we found this spot, Tim offered to move us here. And it wasn't cheap. And it was really awesome of him. I feel like it's kind of like my severance package. Because though it was a lot, it was like nothing. It was like 2 episodes, you know, of Timcast IRL.
And Tim confirms a dollar amount.
And I paid the moving costs, which I think came out to like between 10 or 20 grand for them to move back to Sweden with all their stuff.
So again, I'm not a math Asian, but if it was $20,000, which Adam says is what they made in 2 episodes, if they would do 5 episodes a week, and let's say they could have lasted all year, they were making $2.6 million annually. Not to mention Crigler left in August, where their growth was at its peak, so it likely would have been much more than that 2.6 mil. So sad to say, it really appears money and success was the catalyst of Timcast IRL's downfall, but throughout Adam's livestream, he states their producer Lydia was a major contributor to their issues.
Because I had gone through it, and it was very difficult for me. And she looked right at me with this like disapproving scowl when he said I'm pro-life, or that he's pro-life, right? And she shook her head at me with like the most disapproving glare. And I'm like, you, don't look at me with that. Oh. Like, I was so pissed. And at the end of that show, I said something, you know, and Tim, of course, like, put on his best white knight outfit.
As Adam explains their argument, Tim explains why he had to intervene.
We were doing the last episode with Adam, and when the show ended, he yelled at Lydia. Like, look, I know everyone's got their version of events, but it was bad. I had to say, dude, chill, stop. Only so much you can do in terms of allowing instigated aggressive behavior legally, but you can't yell at someone to the point where they're breaking down in tears and just keep going. I understand why he was mad. I sympathize. It's a sad story, man.
Which, to his credit, Tim isn't being a white knight for standing up for one of his employees, but Adam infers that he was only following Tim's lead.
And he said, yo, you can't snap at Lydia like that. Which I found that really rich, because he would yell at Lydia so loudly for f***ing up, and this was going on for months. Like, he would scream at her. It was scary. Like, he would get so angry.
And we can't confirm what happens off camera, but Tim seems to be stern with his team.
It's called germ theory, Tim. You should read about it, and we should study it heavily.
Oh my god!
No, I'm serious. It's called germ theory.
It's one of the dumbest things you've ever said.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's a...
But then Adam makes very serious accusation about Lydia and Tim's relationship.
The respect that I had left went out the window, because Allison went on vacation a couple weeks after she got there. I think she was visiting family in Chicago or something. And Lydia gets in Tim's bed. To Tim's credit, he kicked her out, like, get out of my room. Like, what are you doing in my room? And I heard she said, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
So now Lydia has taken to Twitter, explaining her decency has been holding her back, but now she's just going to air out her side, slamming Crigler for being nearly 40 years old, rich, with a lovely wife, but somehow still being miserable, sharing how Adam mocked her for her previous career, but stating that Adam used to just play video games while his wife was the breadwinner, trying to emasculate him, topping it all off with how Adam went from being a Democrat to a Trump supporter to just a professional victim, which makes sense. With all their pleasantries out the door, it looks like they're just going to do their best to discredit each other, because Adam seemed to despise not only their personal relationship, but their professional relationship.
Lydia does suck as a producer, and I didn't choose her to be my producer for this show. And you did meet her on Instagram in DMs, when she slid into your DMs, which is true, by the way. You know, like, it would have been nice if you actually hired a professional producer, you know, because we had a really good quality show. That would have been nice to have an actual producer, not a nurse from Bumble America somewhere.
And that's where I think Adam is wrong here. Lydia wasn't a professional producer, but Adam wasn't a professional podcaster. And there's a level of stumbling around while you figure it out that makes your show feel genuine. And that's why people tuned into the garage band of Timcast instead of the super polished CNN. But Adam definitely wanted Lydia gone. So things officially started breaking down when Timcast grew to the point of needing an NDA.
As we started hiring more people to expand the company, we were launching a website, and we have entertainment lawyers and corporate lawyers. They said, you need employees under corporate NDA. Anybody who worked for the company.
Now, Adam felt slighted about how Tim went about getting him to sign.
And it's funny, he laughed, and he looked at me, and he threw it down. Got it right here. He threw it down on the kitchen table, and laughed and said, I know you're not going to sign this. Just like that. And then, of course, the COO of the company was walking next to him with a pen, and dropped a pen on it.
But Tim has his own version of the incident.
There was no slamming a pen on the table with a contract or anything like that. It was, we don't want you guys to leave. You know, we want you to stay and be a part of the crew and keep doing your thing. But we have to have everybody who's an employee of the company sign an NDA.
But Adam and Tim's live streams have several instances of separate realities.
And he looks at me, he's like, so I hired my brother. And I was like, the one that sued you?
Like, my brother never sued me. That didn't happen.
And even though they have a different view on how the collapse of their friendship and show transpired, it truly looks like they admired each other and wanted to fix things.
Why don't you come back on Timcast IRL and we'll start it up again? And he said, you want me? He's like, you're asking me to come back on the show. And I said, yes.
And Crigler in certain parts identified how good Poole has been to him despite their professional issues.
He acted as if nothing bad happened. It was very odd. And I mean, looking back, I'm very grateful for that, because he let me use his cameras. I didn't have anything. He let me use a computer. Like, I literally had nothing, right? He let me set up my studio in the basement.
But Tim didn't think Adam was pulling his weight.
I cannot be the person to do the morning show and all the research and then come in and give, you know, almost half of all the money to somebody who doesn't do the heavy lifting.
And Adam felt his success was hurting Tim's ego.
No, man. You were sick of paying me as much as you did because the show was doing better and better and better. He told me I have an ego issue with the day he fired me. He said I have an ego problem. Me? I had the ego problem, Tim? Seriously, dude?
And it's sad because Timcast IRL was supposed to show that people that don't get along can still be friends that love, care, and respect each other, but it failed. And sadly, duos that have issues over real or perceived inequity of contributions is nothing new. Kobe always called out Shaq for his lack of effort on the Lakers. Casual fans never knew why Pharrell needed Chad Hugo in the Neptunes. Matt Damon alongside the worst Batman of our generation, and YouTubers Abba and Preach, which to my understanding, Abba does all the back-end work for the channel. Meanwhile, Preach just shows up to react to the video topic. But watching Abba's appearance on the No Jumper podcast, it seems Abba has the healthiest perspective on this dynamic.
Not everyone's gonna match your level. And I think if you're okay with that, then you can extract from other people the strength that they can bring to it while still understanding you're going to be the one who's in the lead and pushing everything. Right. So I do more of the work for Adam and Preach. Right. I do more of the back end. I do more of the negotiations, and that's cool. And even though it's not necessarily a 50-50 partnership behind the scenes, I'm fine with that because I understand what he brings to the table, and I'm always going to respect that.
Which is sad, because for the original Timcast IRL, with Adam Crigler and Tim Poole to work out, either one of them needed to be the ABBA Atlas of the group, and unfortunately, that's just not the case. And it's sad because I really wanted to end this video with a nice moment of the Timcast IRL show where they're just having fun, but those episodes and clips are gone forever, as it appears Tim's success is making him see more and more of his relationships dissolve.
It's so hard, you know what I mean? To deal with this so many times, over and over again. The constant barrage that you get from betrayers and mutineers.
But at least Adam seems to have at least one moment of clarity on his live stream.
You know, maybe I did blow up. Maybe I am like getting triggered because of myself and not Lydia, and I'm the one making the big deal out of it.
So maybe that's why this show is just me and you. If I do a good job, you want to watch each video. And if you're not watching my videos, I'm not doing a good job. And you can't get more authentic than that. So if you appreciate my concise, no BS commentary on current events, please consider becoming a channel member for just under $2. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, then check out my video on what's really going on in Chicago, because they're likely hiding it from you.